The silent 100 years. The galaxy breathed easier for 100 years. When humanity vanished, the collective sigh of relief from the galactic commonwealth could have powered entire star systems. Gone were the reckless warriors who challenged every law, questioned every tradition, and somehow managed to survive against impossible odds. Ambassador Cathax of the Zentari Empire stood before the Grand Council chamber, his four arms gesturing delicately as he addressed the assembly. The crystalline walls hummed with energy, displaying star charts that showed the vast territories once held by Earth's children, now divided among a dozen alien species. Esteemed colleagues, Cathax began, his voice resonating through the translator. Today marks the centennial celebration of our great peace. 100 years since the human threat was neutralized, 100 years of prosperity and order. The council chamber, filled with representatives from every major civilization, murmured in agreement. The Vox with their telepathic whispers, the Kelthani with their mechanical precision, and even the warlike Draconians had found stability in humanity's absence. But peace built on assumptions can be fragile. Far from the political centers, on the edge of what was once human space, monitoring station Theta 9 registered something unusual. A pulse, weak but steady, emanating from the dead zone around Earth. Commander Vrex, we're picking up anomalous readings. Junior Officer Tilara reported, her antennae twitching nervously. The insectoid officer leaned over the console, her compound eyes reflecting the green glow of the screens. Commander Vrex, a veteran of the Zentari fleet, walked over with measured steps. His scaled hide rippled as he examined the data. Probably just solar flares or debris, he dismissed initially. But as the readings continued, something in the pattern made him pause. It was too regular, too intentional. "Enhance Sector 47B," he ordered. The screen zoomed in on the abandoned Sol system. Earth hung there, supposedly a lifeless rock after the Great Plague that swept through humanity's homeworld. Yet the pulse originated from its surface. "That's impossible," Tilara whispered. "Nothing can survive on Earth. The virus." "Get me a direct line to Commonwealth Command," Vrex interrupted. "And prepare a scout ship. I want visual confirmation." The news traveled quickly through diplomatic channels. Within hours, an emergency session convened. Ambassador Cathax found himself facing a very different mood in the council chamber. "We have confirmed the signals are artificial," reported Admiral Zelnok of the combined fleet. "They match known human encryption patterns." A wave of unease swept through the assembly. The humans were legends now, stories told to frighten young ones into obedience. Their creativity in warfare, their stubborn refusal to accept defeat, their ability to turn any situation to their advantage, all carefully documented in classified archives. "It must be automated systems," suggested the Vox representative, their thoughts rippling through the chamber. "Remnants of their infrastructure coming online due to some malfunction." "Perhaps," Cathax replied, "but we cannot take chances. I propose we send an investigative team." The vote was unanimous. A multi-species task force was assembled, led by Commander Vrex himself. Their mission: investigate the source of the signals and confirm humanity's extinction once and for all. 3 weeks later, the scout ship Vigilant dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. The crew, a mix of Commonwealth species, stared at their screens in disbelief. Earth wasn't the dead world they expected. Faint lights dotted the surface, concentrated around what appeared to be massive structures. The atmosphere showed signs of recent terraforming activity. "Scanning for life signs," Tilara announced, her fingers dancing across the console. The results made her freeze. "Commander, I'm detecting biological signatures. Thousands of them. They match human DNA patterns." The bridge fell silent. Commander Vrex felt a chill run down his spine. Impossible. The plague was absolute. Nothing could have survived. "Sir," called out the communications officer, "we're being hailed." "From where?" "From Earth, sir." With trembling hands, the officer opened the channel. A voice, distinctly human, filled the bridge. Unknown vessel, this is Earth Defense Command. You are trespassing in sovereign human space. Identify yourself immediately or be fired upon. The crew exchanged shocked glances. After a moment's hesitation, Vrex responded, "This is Commander Vrex of the Galactic Commonwealth vessel Vigilant. We believe humanity was extinct." A laugh, cold and bitter, came through the speakers. "Extinct? No, Commander. We've just been preparing." Suddenly, proximity alarms blared. Ships, dozens of them, appeared on their sensors. They had been hidden, powered down, waiting. Human ships, bearing designs never seen before, surrounded the Vigilant. "Commander Vrex," the voice continued, "please inform your Commonwealth that humanity sends its regards. We'll be seeing you all very soon." The transmission cut off. Vrex stared at the view screen, watching as more lights appeared across Earth's surface. Massive doors opened, revealing underground facilities that must have taken decades to construct. Talura's voice shook as she reported, "Sir, similar signals are now being detected from Mars, Europa, and from outside the system. Multiple locations." The implications hit Vrex like a physical blow. The humans hadn't died. They had hidden. They had planned. And now, after 100 years of letting the galaxy believe they were gone, they were ready to return. "Get us out of here," Vrex ordered. "The Commonwealth needs to know. The humans are coming back." As the Vigilant turned to flee, Earth's old orbital defense platforms came online. Ancient satellites, thought to be dead space junk, powered up one by one. The message was clear. Humanity had never truly left. They had simply been waiting for the right moment. In the council chamber, Ambassador Kthax received the report with growing dread. The celebration of peace had become a prelude to something else entirely. The galaxy had forgotten one crucial fact about humans. They never truly gave up. They adapted, they evolved, and they always found a way to survive. The 100 years of silence hadn't been extinction. It had been preparation. And now, the sleeping giant was awake. The first tremors of change rippled through the Commonwealth. Reports flooded in from abandoned human colonies that weren't so abandoned after all. Hidden bases activated across the galaxy. Ships thought lost to history emerged from asteroid fields and nebulae. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had thrived in the shadows, learning, growing, and preparing for this moment. The galaxy had thought humans were forgotten. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Awakening of the sleeping giants. The news spread through the Galactic Commonwealth like wildfire. Emergency meetings were called on every major world, military fleets mobilized, and old war protocols dusted off from archives. The impossible had happened. Humanity had returned. On Centaurus Prime, the Commonwealth's capital, panic gripped the highest levels of government. Ambassador Kthax found himself at the center of a storm of questions and accusations. "How could we have missed this?" demanded General Korvash of the Draconian Empire, his reptilian features twisted in rage. 100 years of surveillance, and we detected nothing. "The humans were always masters of deception," Kthax replied, trying to maintain diplomatic calm. "We should have known their apparent extinction was too convenient." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the true scope of humanity's survival began to reveal itself. On the ice moon of Ganymede, automated systems that had lain dormant for a century suddenly came to life. Massive blast doors, hidden beneath kilometers of ice, groaned open. From these frozen depths emerged not refugees or scattered survivors, but a fully equipped military force. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the HMS Resurgence, watching as her fleet assembled. 3 generations of humans had lived and trained in these hidden bases, preparing for this day. "All ships report ready, Commander," her first officer, Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez, announced. "The other bunker fleets are signaling green across the board." Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. 100 years of hiding, of letting them think we were gone. Our grandparents' sacrifice won't be in vain. The plan had been brilliant in its simplicity. When the engineered plague struck Earth, humanity had already prepared. Underground cities, off-world colonies disguised as ruins, generation ships hidden in deep space, all part of an elaborate deception. "Open a channel to all human forces," Chen ordered. "Channel open, Commander." "This is Commander Chen to all Resurgence Fleet units. Today we reclaim our place among the stars. Not as conquerors, but as equals. We've watched the Commonwealth for a century. We know their strengths, their weaknesses, and most importantly, we know they fear us. That fear will be our greatest weapon." Across human space, similar scenes played out. Hidden fleets emerged from asteroid fields, underwater cities on ocean worlds surfaced, and camouflaged bases on seemingly uninhabited planets powered up. The Commonwealth's first response was predictably aggressive. Admiral Zelnok, commanding the combined fleet, ordered an immediate strike on Earth. "We must eliminate them before they can fully mobilize," he declared to his war council. "One decisive blow to their homeworld will end this threat." 300 warships jumped into the Sol system, the largest fleet assembled since the Draconian Wars. They expected to find a partially recovered civilization, vulnerable and unprepared. Instead, they found a fortress. Earth's orbital defense grid activated fully for the first time in a century. Massive railguns, hidden in seemingly dead satellites, opened fire. Stealth missile platforms, disguised as space debris, launched their payloads. The first wave of Commonwealth ships never knew what hit them. "Admiral, we're taking heavy casualties," his tactical officer reported. "Their defenses are far beyond anything in our databases." "Impossible," Zelnok roared. "Their technology should be a century behind ours." But it wasn't. Humanity had spent 100 years not just hiding, but innovating. They had studied captured Commonwealth technology, improved upon it, and developed countermeasures for every known weapon system. On Earth, in a command center buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Elena Kovac watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Phase 1 complete," she announced to her staff. "Their main fleet is engaged. Initiate Phase 2. Across the galaxy, human sleeper cells activated. On thousands of Commonwealth worlds, humans who had lived in secret among alien populations for generations revealed themselves, not as terrorists or saboteurs, but as something far more dangerous: diplomats and peacemakers. Ambassador David Okonkwo stepped into the Zentari Parliament, causing the shocked silence to fall over the assembly. He was human, but he had lived among them for 50 years under a false identity. "Esteemed members," he began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber, "I come not with threats, but with an offer of peace. Humanity has returned, yes, but not for vengeance. We seek only our rightful place in the galaxy." Kithak stared at his longtime colleague in disbelief. "David, but how?" "We've been here all along, Kithax. Watching, learning, understanding. We know your fears, your hopes, your dreams. We're not the monsters your propaganda painted us as." Similar scenes played out across Commonwealth space. Humans emerged from hiding not as invaders, but as neighbors who had been there all along. Back in the Sol system, Admiral Zelnok faced a terrible choice. His fleet was being systematically destroyed by Earth's defenses, but reinforcements were hours away. Pride warred with pragmatism as he watched another squadron disappear from his tactical display. "Admiral," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth." "Put it through," Zelnok growled. The holographic display activated, showing a human woman in military uniform. "Admiral Zelnok, I am General Kovac of Earth Defense Command. You have two options: withdraw immediately, or watch the rest of your fleet be destroyed. We have no desire for unnecessary bloodshed. You dare threaten the combined fleet?" Zelnok snarled. "I'm offering you a chance to save your people," Kovac replied calmly. "Look at your tactical displays. You've already lost 30% of your ships. Your weapons are ineffective against our defenses. This battle is over." Zelnok's staff exchanged worried glances. The human was right. Their most powerful weapons were being neutralized by unknown countermeasures. Their shields were failing against weapons they couldn't even detect. "What are your terms?" Zelnok asked through gritted teeth. "Simple. Withdraw your fleet. Return to Commonwealth space. Inform your leaders that humanity is ready to negotiate our return to the galactic community as equals, not as subjects." The Admiral's pride screamed for him to continue the attack, but the soldier in him recognized a lost battle. "Very well. We withdraw." As the battered Commonwealth fleet limped away from Earth, a new reality began to sink in across the galaxy. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had evolved. Their technology was superior, their strategy flawless, and their intelligence network had penetrated every level of Commonwealth society. On Centaurus Prime, emergency sessions tried to make sense of the new situation. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Human fleets had appeared in strategic locations, not attacking, but simply demonstrating their presence. Human diplomats were requesting meetings on every major world. Ambassador Cathax found himself face to face with Ambassador Okonkwo in a private meeting. "Why?" Cathax asked. "Why hide for so long? Why let us believe you were gone?" Okonkwo smiled sadly. "Because you feared us, Cathax. The Commonwealth was built on that fear. You united against us, plotted against us, and ultimately tried to exterminate us. We needed time. Time to grow, to learn, to become something more than what we were. And now we offer the galaxy a choice. Accept us as equals, work with us to build something better, or face the consequences of another war, one that you cannot win." The message was clear. Humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as a force that could not be ignored or defeated. They held all the cards, yet they offered peace. For the first time in a century, the galaxy had to reconsider everything it thought it knew about humans. They weren't the reckless warriors of legend. They were patient strategists who had turned their greatest defeat into their ultimate victory. As news of humanity's return spread to the furthest corners of the galaxy, reactions varied from terror to curiosity to grudging respect. The humans had done the impossible. They had fooled an entire galaxy for a century and emerged stronger than ever. The sleeping giants were awake, and the galaxy would never be the same. The new dawn of Earth. The Great Hall of Reconciliation on Centaurus Prime had never seen such a gathering. Representatives from every known civilization filled the massive amphitheater, their forms a kaleidoscope of biological and technological diversity. At the center stood two figures: Ambassador Cathax of the Commonwealth and Admiral Sarah Chen, now serving as humanity's chief diplomat. 3 months had passed since humanity's dramatic return. 3 months of tense negotiations, military standoffs, and gradual realization that the galaxy had fundamentally changed. "Esteemed delegates," Chen began, her voice carrying across the hall, "humanity stands before you not as your enemy, but as your future partner. We've proven our strength. Now we offer our hand in friendship." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. The Vox delegation's telepathic skepticism was palpable. The Draconians sat rigid, their warrior pride still stinging from their fleet's defeat at Earth. General Corvash rose, his scarred scales catching the light. "You speak of partnership after deceiving us for a century, after infiltrating our worlds, our governments." Chen met his gaze steadily. "We did what was necessary to survive. You tried to exterminate us, General. Would you have done differently in our place?" The question hung in the air, unanswered. On Earth, the transformation continued at breakneck pace. Cities that had lain empty for a century bloomed with life as humans emerged from their underground sanctuaries. The planet's surface, secretly terraformed over decades, now supported thriving ecosystems. Dr. James Nakamura stood in the restored Tokyo Metro Garden, watching children play among genetically preserved cherry trees. Born in an underground bunker, He had never seen the sun until 3 months ago. "It's more beautiful than the simulations," he murmured to his colleague, Dr. Mroc. She nodded, her eyes glistening. "Our ancestors preserved more than just our species. They preserved our world." The revelation of humanity's survival had triggered a renaissance. Art, science, and culture flourished as humans reconnected with their heritage and shared their innovations with a stunned galaxy. In the Andromeda shipyards, formerly abandoned human facilities came alive with activity. Engineers from multiple species worked alongside humans, studying the advanced technologies that had kept humanity hidden for so long. "The quantum masking field is genius," admitted Centauri scientist Veltor, examining the stealth systems. "We never thought to look for ships existing in parallel phase states." His human counterpart, engineer Lisa Park, smiled. "Necessity is the mother of invention. When you're hiding from an entire galaxy, you get creative." This collaboration became the template for a new era. Humans, rather than seeking revenge, offered their knowledge freely. Medical advances developed in isolation now saved lives across species. Agricultural techniques perfected in underground farms solved food crises on overcrowded worlds. But not everyone welcomed humanity's return. On the fringes of Commonwealth space, the Purist Alliance formed. Led by remnants of the old anti-human coalition, they refused to accept the new reality. "They're infiltrating us again," declared Zelok Prime Kormoth in underground broadcasts. "This peace is a deception. They're weakening us for the final blow." The Alliance launched terrorist attacks against joint human-alien facilities. They sabotaged diplomatic meetings and spread propaganda about human mind control technologies. Humanity's response surprised everyone. Instead of military retaliation, they initiated Project Understanding. Human volunteers lived openly on alien worlds, sharing their daily lives through neural broadcasts. Alien families were invited to Earth, shown the underground cities where humanity had preserved their culture. "Fear breeds in darkness," Chen explained to the Commonwealth Council. "We bring light." The turning point came during the Siege of New Harmony, a joint colony on the frontier. The Purist Alliance launched a massive assault, intending to massacre the mixed population and spark a war. As Alliance forces closed in, something unprecedented happened. Human and alien defenders fought side by side, not as separate units, but as one people. Centauri medics treated human wounded. Human engineers repaired draconian war machines. Vox telepaths coordinated with human tactical AIs. The colony held. The siege lasted 17 days. When Commonwealth and human relief forces arrived, they found the colonists not just alive, but united in a way that shocked both sides. "We're not human or Centauri or draconian anymore," declared colony governor Maria Sanchez, standing alongside her Vox deputy. "We're New Harmonians." The footage of species working together, fighting together, dying together, broke something in the galaxy's collective consciousness. The fear that had driven the Commonwealth to attempt genocide, the same fear the Purist Alliance exploited, began to dissolve. 1 year after humanity's return, the Treaty of Sol was signed. The Commonwealth was dissolved, replaced by the United Galactic Federation. Humanity took its place not as rulers or subjects, but as equals among equals. Ambassador Kithax, now serving as the first non-human ambassador to Earth, stood with Chen on the observation deck of Unity Station, watching Earth rotate below. "I owe you an apology," Kithax said quietly. "Not just for what we tried to do, but for what we failed to understand." Chen placed a hand on his shoulder. "We all failed, Kithax. We failed to see each other as people. That's the real lesson of the last century." Below them, ships from a dozen species moved in harmony around Earth's orbital platforms. Human children played with alien younglings in zero-gravity parks. Scientists collaborated in floating laboratories. "What happens now?" Kithax asked. Chen smiled. "Now we build something new. Together." The galaxy had feared humanity's return, expected vengeance and war. Instead, they got something far more powerful: forgiveness and the opportunity to grow beyond their fears. Humanity hadn't just survived their darkest hour. They had emerged from it wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. They had turned a century of isolation into a chance for reflection and growth. As the news spread across the galaxy, a new saying emerged: never count out the humans. But now it carried a different meaning. Not a warning about human military might, but a reminder of human resilience, adaptability, and capacity for forgiveness. The stars looked the same, but the galaxy had changed forever. Where once there had been fear and division, now there was hope and unity. Humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as catalysts for a new age. In schools across the Federation, children of all species learned a new version of history, not one of conflict and fear, but of understanding and growth. The century of silence, as it came to be known, was taught not as a tragedy, but as a necessary pause, a moment for the galaxy to mature enough to accept its most challenging members. And in the depths of space, on the edges of known territory, human exploration ships once again pushed into the unknown. But this time, they weren't alone. Crews of mixed species worked together, facing the mysteries of the universe as one. The galaxy had thought humans were forgotten. Instead, humanity had given them something impossible to forget: a second chance. As Earth's sun set on this new era, Admiral Chen stood in her garden, watching the stars appear. Her granddaughter, playing with a young Centauri friend, looked up at her. "Grandma, were humans really gone for 100 years?" Chen smiled, kneeling beside the children. "No, sweetheart. We were never gone. We were just waiting for the galaxy to be ready for us." Above them, the stars twinkled with infinite possibility, no longer divided by fear, but united in hope for what tomorrow might bring.